This is a Kawasaki KSR 110, the smallest motorcycle that we have in our stable of weird and unusual motorcycles not normally found where I live. If you have been following the channel, I posted a couple of videos riding this bike up in the mountain countryside, but I never really talked about it. Now, since this bike is currently back in the city and long overdue for a decent service, might as well ride it around town and tell you my opinions on this fun little dual sport that we have had for quite some time. Now, before I begin, if you managed to watch this video to the end and like this one, please leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel if you aren't yet. And if you have something to ask or say about this motorcycle, feel free to post them in the comment section below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. With that out of the way, let's begin. Okay, so what is the KSR 110? It is classified as a mini Moto dual sport under Kawasaki's leisure bike segment. It is manufactured in Southeast Asia and is primarily targeted at younger riders who want a unique and fun daily motorcycle. It is based on the ever so popular off-road only Kawasaki KLX 110, and it's safe to say this is the road legal version. It is powered by an air-cooled 110cc single-cylinder 4-stroke motor with a 4-speed semi-automatic transmission, producing roughly 8 horsepower. It comes with upside-down front forks and non-adjustable rear shock, which offers enough suspension travel for most road situations. Single disc brake front with 2-piston caliper, and a disc rear brake with single piston caliper. The bike is equipped with all the road legal requirements, an electric start for your convenience, and a kickstart, which is awesome. But that's the boring part. How does it ride? How does it perform on the streets and off-road? So here goes. Ergonomics on the KSR 110 is made for younger riders, or should I say, vertically challenged. For a guy like me, this bike is tiny and I look like a cow riding a goat. But surprisingly, I am very comfortable riding it around. The seat is wide and plush, good for all day riding around town and the occasional off-road situations. The foot peg placement is very neutral and the reach to the bars is, well, very close and low to the point the handlebars hit my knees at full steering lock. I fixed this with a pair of bar risers and the problem is solved. I could ride this bike the whole day without feeling cramped or feeling sore at the end of a long commute. Engine performance is something that I find lacking. Yep, it's a 110 alright, and it's not fast or quick, but that's okay since this bike is meant for newer riders to use as a commuter. The revs build up slow and the throttle response is not quick, even with an upgraded carburetor. I mean, it only has 8 horsepower, and what else do you expect from a 110? In city traffic conditions that we have here, the power output is enough to blast in and out of tight spaces, and is more than enough for overtaking other vehicles at city speeds. On uphill situations though, this little engine requires a lot of gearbox manipulation to keep moving forward, but in most cases it's first and second gear all the way. Speaking of gearbox, if you're used to riding a motorcycle with a clutch, then this bike is a weird experience, especially at the first few kilometers. Having no clutch at all feels very odd, but after a few minutes of riding it around, you will get used to it. The 4-speed transmission works okay and each gear seems to have a specific purpose. First gear is great for steep uphills. Second gear is basically the only gear you will be using, especially in tight traffic conditions, or should I say most situations. Third is basically a suggestion to go faster, while fourth gear is just an overdrive for cruising at speeds of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. There is a manual clutch version of this bike though, which is the KSR Pro, which I would like to try one of these days though. Handling on the KSR is something else, at lower speeds the bike handles pretty well, and on higher speeds on a straight road it's pretty stable despite it being so small. The weird part is in entering corners at speeds above 50 kilometers per hour. It feels very resistant to your inputs and requires a bit of body weight transfer to keep it stable. The suspension feels floaty in this situation, but more so on dirt roads. I do like the fact that this bike weighs next to nothing and its size is extremely manageable in tight situations. May it be in traffic or in tight mountain trails, if ever you happen to be in one. Okay, to sum things up, the KSR 110 is a small dual sport ideal for heavy urban traffic and mild off-road duties. It's not fast and it's got weird handling, but it's really light and extremely easy to manhandle. And it's pretty reliable too. Honestly, this is probably the third time we've had this bike serviced ever since we got it, and it hasn't grenaded itself with the kind of abuse it gets from us. Now, would I recommend this bike to a new rider? Yes, but I would suggest that you get a pre-owned unit. The price for a brand new one, in my opinion, is too high for what you're getting. Find one that is slightly used but in decent shape to learn on. And if you can find yourself the Pro version, then that's the one that I would highly recommend. As for parts and accessories, you'd be surprised to find that there are a lot out there. A simple search in Google and you will find tons of manufacturers making parts for it. Anyway, that's it for this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. And check out my other reviews if this bike is not for you. As always, see you next time. Bye.